Good morning, everybody, and once again, welcome back to the channel. In this particular video, we are gonna do a simple hands-on lab on how you can build a per-tenant iceberg table and how you can process the data in Apache Spark. So let me share my screen, show you a sample use case, and then we'll talk more about it. So again, on S3, as you can see, I have a folder called data, and inside that I have like tenant 1, tenant 2, tenant 3, tenant 4, and so on. Each tenant has some Parquet or data files data files inside that, right? Now, how do you approach this, right? To build a lakehouse. So first of all, there are two important things. Number one is, do you want to build a single table and partition by tenant ID? That's approach number one. Or do you want to build separate table for each particular tenant? Both the approaches offer certain pros and cons. For example, the single table approach is easier to manage, right? But at the same time, the for certain partitions, it could slow down the process, right? Per tenant approach, iceberg table allows you to have the flexibility to scale and manage settings for each particular table independently. So again, there are pros and cons. This one we're gonna see separate iceberg table for a particular tenant. Now, how to process the data? Now, again, there you want to ask one more question here: is hey, is the schema same for all the tenant? If the answer is yes, then you can probably follow this approach, which I'm about to show you. The most simple approach is, okay, what you will do is you read again. Assume if you have the data, if the schema is same for all the tenants, you can read all the data inside the data folder. So basically, you create a manifest file. The manifest file has a list of S3 URI that you will be processing. Read the entire all the tenants as a data frame object, cache the data frame, get the unique tenants, and I'll show you the code actually. So let's take a look at the approach, right? So I will go to the non-threaded one. So first thing is we build a manifest file. Manifest file is basically meaning there will be a file.pending in where you will have all the S3 URI of the file that it needs to process, right? So once we generate the manifest file, we read that data as a Spark data frame, as you can see. So we are reading all the data for all the tenants as a Spark data frame, right? Then we cache the data frame. After that, we grab the list of unique tenants from that data frame, right? I have access to the tenants. And then the most naive way is, okay, for each tenants that you have, call a function, right? And here you can see I'm creating an iceberg table. And after creating an iceberg table over here, we do a merge query, right? Simple, right? So if I show you this, merge SQL, right? So it dedupes the incoming records and then it performs the merge into command into iceberg table, right? So the approach number one was, let me collapse this and let me go back to the non-threaded one. It's simple, right? So basically you read all the tenants over here, right? As a Spark data frame, cache it, and then for each particular tenant, create an iceberg table, do a merge into. That's an approach number one. But again, this approach is basically slower because if you have n tenants, it's going to take a lot of more time, right? Now, the second approach that you can do is a threaded approach, right? So for example, in Spark, you could use multi-threading. So for example, here, same approach, right? I create a manifest file, same thing, right? Let me just do 1000 here, okay? And I'll run it and show you in a second. So I create a manifest file. After creating manifest file, again, same thing. I read the data as Spark data frame. I cache the data, right? I get the tenants. And now this is what is different, right? So with thread pool executor, this is something you can play around, the max worker. And then here you can see executor.submit, the same function I'm calling. I'm passing in the Spark and the data frame and the tenant. So now what it does, process tenant, as you can see. So for each particular tenant, as you can see, now it will call this particular function. And again, here it will get that particular tenant data frame. So out of that, all the data, it's going to filter data for that particular tenant, as you can see over here, creates the iceberg table and then does a merge query. Now, if you were to run both the script, you will see the threaded approach is of course much more faster, right? And let's take a look at that. So basically what I want to do is I have the threaded approach over here and the non-threaded approach over here. Here you can see threaded approach and then the non-threaded approach. Let me add a simple start time and the end time, and then we can print both the time on the console. So I'm about to run the code, as you can see. So first I'm going to do for non-threaded approach. This will take a much longer time, right? So Python 3, I think, let me see the file name. I was process tenant.py. So let's run the Spark job. I think it will take about 25 to 30 seconds, but let's take a look at that. So as you can see, it basically will create a manifest file over here. Hopefully it's usually very fast. Here you can see the pending manifest. And if I quickly do a query h3 select very quickly, because this will be deleted once the processing is complete. Here you can see, right, it has all the h3 URI that it needs to process, right? So again, going back to my terminal. As you can see right now, it is processing for each particular tenant. I think I have about 10 tenants, and here you can see the warehouse. And here you can see the table, iceberg table for each particular tenant, 11, 14, 16. And if I refresh, here you can see more tables has been added. So the process will continue, and I believe it takes about 25 seconds to complete on my local machine, of course. And then I'll show you the threaded approach. Again, it is much more faster, and then I'll give you some more pro tips here, okay? So let me wait for this to complete. This should be done in a couple of seconds. So let's wait. So again, for each tenant, it's creating an iceberg table and then doing the merge into command, right? So let me probably pause the video because this will take about 20 seconds. So I'm pausing the video right here, and I'll resume once the result is completed, okay? So pausing the video right here. Okay, so the process is probably complete. As you can see, basically it archived all the data files here. So it took roughly about 110 seconds, right, for all the tenants, as you can see here, right? Now let's try the same code with the threaded approach, right? Again, I'm doing it on local machine, so the results could vary. So if I scroll here, I can see I have all the 20 tenants iceberg table over here. If I go to warehouse, if I go back to the main root bucket, my data file is archived. So these are all the data that I've already processed, right? Now let's take a look at the threaded approach, right? See how it is much more faster. Before I run for the threaded approach, let me actually come to my h3 and delete all this one, right? Just to keep the test fair, okay? So I'll say permanently delete, okay? And now what I will do is in the same Python, I mean, I have a generate data.file. So Python 3 generate data, oops, I think I have a typo, Python 3 generate data.py. So again, this will generate data for each tenant, same thing, right? So basically here you can see data files, and I have all the tenants that is being populated. Now let's try the threaded approach. You will see, so again, remember the non-threaded took roughly about 110 seconds on my machine, right? So I guess we have 20 tenants roughly. Now let's try the threaded approach, main threaded approach. Of course, we can play with the thread number, etc., right? So now Python 3, let me just make sure I'm calling the right function, non-threaded, and then this should be threaded. That is fine. Let me also comment out this one. Okay. All right. So I'm about to run this Python function again. So let's do this. Python 3. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Process tenant.py. So the Spark job has started. So at this point, again, it's gonna create a pending manifest file, and then here you can see it's actually there. The warehouse is not there at this point. As you can see, the iceberg tables are not there. So as you can see now, 10 and 10, 19, 20, they are being processed in a threaded approach now. As you can see, let me refresh. Here you can see warehouse default, and here you can see it's clearly faster. You can definitely make a guess out of that, right? Clearly. So let's wait for this to complete. I mean, this should be done probably in half the time that it took the non-threaded approach. So I'm assuming probably like 40-50 seconds roughly, but let's wait for this to complete. So allow me to pause the video here and resume once it's complete. Okay, it's complete, as you can see, and let's take a look at the time. So the total time it took processing for all tenants, 39 seconds. So that's a big difference, right? Here you can see clearly, so I'll just write it down, 39 seconds. So basically for the non-threaded approach, of course it took a lot more time, right? But for the threaded approach, it took 39 seconds, right? So we were able to process all the tenants, right? And here if I refresh, I see all the 20 iceberg tables, right? Here you can see data, metadata, etc., right? So we were able to do things much more faster. Now let me give you some pro tips here, okay? Although you are processing data for tenants in a threaded approach, but still there is a problem here. Now the problem, what is the problem? Well, if any one of the tenant fails, of course your entire pipeline will go down, right? Which is not good, right? Of course you can have error handling. So for example, you can log the sites that are failed, and then you can keep moving forward. But what's a much better approach, right? A much better approach could be so do a list operation on the S3, get all the unique tenants that you have, tenant 1 to tenant 20, for example, and then use a hash function, could be MD5 hashing or just a simple Python hash function, and then distribute the tenants into buckets or bins. What do I mean? So bucket one will have tenant 1, 2, 3, 4. Bucket 2 will have 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. So basically what you're doing is you're creating bins. So let's say the bin size is 5. And so now each bin will have 5 tenants each. Again, just as an example, I'm showing you. So distribute the tenants into bins and then have each Spark job for a bin. Now, it's much more better because even if something goes down, not everything will go down, only that particular component or item will go down. Again, just as a note, I thought I would probably bring it up. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have for the video. I hope you have enjoyed. You can actually try this labs out on your machine. The code is available. So again, if I just want to show you on my Medium, I think this is on Medium. So if you scroll all the way on the down, you have all the Python code here. I've explained all the steps here as well. So for example, I explained the directory structure here. The data structure, and I have the datagen.py. So feel free to try it out on your free time. If you have any more questions, let me know your question in the comment section below, and I'll be more than happy to probably discuss on that. With that being said, keep smiling, keep programming, and post a question in the comment window, and I'll see you in the next video.